making no apologies. That's it, umhlaba mawuhlulwe so that our people can have access to the land.
Life is difficult, but you must soldier on. Don't give up. If you are a coward, you don't belong here.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Zuma Politics. So today I have my very first guest ever, very first, an important one. Do you want to introduce yourself? I think I must rather let you say your name, and then I'll obviously share how I know you, and how I got to invite you to the channel.
Yes. So my name is Tebogo Mabusela, and I've been a follower of Simple Politics, but also we met Z on the TikTok lives, and yeah, that's where we met.
Okay. All right. So yeah, guys. So Tebogo is the intellectual, so I'm here, even though I'm here to have this conversation with him, but I'm here to learn. So yeah, we met Tebogo in one of our TikTok lives. He's always there contributing, and obviously has a lot of insight in like current politics. And so, you know, I felt like it was important that you would get this opportunity to have a chat with him and just talk about anything and everything. I think in this episode there's no specific thing that we want to speak about. I think there's a lot of things that we want to cover. We want to cover today's politics. You know, there's a lot of things going on. We want to cover the top four political parties, the leaders. In any direction the conversation goes, I think we, you know, would head that way. I don't want us to limit the conversation. I just want us to flow. I want us to have like a natural conversation. So I hope you enjoy this. And be kind. Remember, this is my very first guest, so be kind. But I think also what sets this channel apart, just before we get right into it, what set this channel apart is us being able to share what we think. You know, it's not about what everyone else says, but it's more about sharing your perspective and your opinion. So I think that's the foundation of this channel. So Tebogo,
Yes.
I think tell us more, just to break the ice. Tell us more about yourself, just the basics of you, who you are, where you come from, and where did your love for politics come? Well, not love, but maybe like your interest in politics.
Yes. So I am, as I've said, Tebogo Mabusela, and I come from Limpopo, in a small town called Mokopane. And when I came to the University of Cape Town to study for my Bachelor of Commerce, I happened to get involved in student politics, student leadership, and that's where my love started to grow for student politics. I was in the SRC in 2022 with fellow comrades in the FFSC. That's where I got to meet, you know, a lot of student politicians and learned a lot about student politics. But I think, you know, after that period of time, you know, wanting to move away from the campus politics to more national politics, you know, preparing to go vote for the 2024 elections, that's where my focus started to shift, and my interest has been going there, and also just trying to get our young people to be interested in things beyond, you know, not just the same campus issues of maybe res food or transport or housing issues, but also let's look at essentially the politics pertaining, because there was also a point where I moved off of campus. Now you have faced real scenarios, you know, catching taxis, catching trains, and all of those things. So you start to see where life gets more real and how insulated the campus life is. That, you know, it gets more real in a more real world context.
Correct. Okay.
So that's where my love for politics, I think, just continue to grow, and the interests just continue to
develop.
Yeah.
Do you belong to any political party? Did you sign a membership? That's what I'm asking.
I don't have a membership.
I knew it. You know, I've been wanting to ask you this question. Do you have a membership? I knew it. Something told me that you don't have a membership. Okay, fine. Okay, so we were chatting off camera. You told me that you're from Limpopo, and so you've stayed in Cape Town for at least 6 years now. How different is it? I think political wise, and I'm asking this because the DA would say we govern we like where we govern better, and we know that they're in government in Cape Town. But I think what I'm asking you is coming from Limpopo and with everything that is happening there, in town and like in personal lives. Let's say there's no water, there's no this, and then coming to Cape Town, seeing how the DA governs, but also how the people live, even the ones that are in township. So, like, what have you learned, or how different is it? I don't know if you get my question, because I don't think I'm phrasing it right. Yeah, okay?
I mean, coming from Limpopo, we know, people struggle. We know there's poverty. We know people stay in shacks, but people make means with whatever they have there. Whereas when I came into Cape Town, the homelessness just hits a little bit, more because it's juxtaposed with opulence. So here you have this nice camp space, but you're seeing all of these homeless children walking on here. They're begging. They're so, and it's one of those things that absolutely just throws you off, because much as I've seen poverty before, here it's like there's no room for poverty. It's like to even be poor is a criminal offense. I've seen metro polices here in Cape Town going to remove certain shelters that people try to put up. I've seen, they'll put these spikes in certain places underneath bridges so people can't sleep. So there's no room to be poor. Yeah. So it's like you must be far from there. Whereas in Limpopo, it's like, even if you're struggling, even you're trying to whatever, you can get a big room for 800 and just make means end, and people will try to accommodate. For you being poor doesn't isolate you from that society. In fact, people are like, no, Zola, just try something.
Yeah.
And you can always try to make means. But here it feels like if you hit that bottom, I don't know how people make it out. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
Do you have street kids in Limpopo?
Yeah.
Have you seen one?
They are street kids. And
okay.
we'll call them nyaupa addicts.
Okay.
Those kind of dynamics, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Before I get into the serious questions, why don't you have a membership of any political party? No, I'm just curious.
So, because I like writing about politics, analyzing it, I haven't essentially taken the step to, because that would automatically make me allied with a particular position. But for the most part, I'm quite transparent about the fact that, no, I like the EFF and I'm a supporter. And also, the onerous responsibility of being an EFF member. When you read that constitution, when you sign up as a member, you see how serious...
what you are agreeing to.
Yeah, what
so
you are
you scared?
I am assessing.
Hey!
To what degree do you own up to that? Because you must show up for it. You don't just sign up for the sake of affiliating.
Yeah.
And I would want to take it seriously when I decide essentially to throw myself into a political affiliation. There was a time where previously I had joined the EFF in my first year, but I didn't renew the membership.
Oh, you didn't renew the membership?
Yeah. So that was just also where I was going to be contesting the SRC elections, and I had to decide, do I do it under their banner or not? I decided to go independent because I...
Oh, so you went independent?
Yeah, I ran for the SRC elections as an independent candidate.
Why? Why didn't you want to run under the EFF? No, I'm just curious now. I mean, I will obviously include this in this episode, but I'm just like, it's not like everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and it really doesn't matter, but I'm just curious.
So I came onto campus in 2020.
Yeah.
By March, we got sent back home.
Okay.
There was no political activity. I was not conscientized. I was not trained, essentially, as a comrade of the EFF, and hence, by the time I was running for the elections, I couldn't even claim to be an EFF comrade. Member. So I ran as an independent person. Okay. But I was in the faculty of council, so it was also going to be advantageous for me to not be affiliated
with any party.
Yeah, common students essentially are a little bit more blinkered in how they look at the world and politics. That's been my experience, at least. So, yeah, but since then, I think I just haven't gone back to renew membership and take part actively in politics.
Are you thinking about it, or you're not thinking about it at all?
I would want to contribute to politics and political developments, and I think I continue to do so.
And you can contribute without belonging, by the way. I'm saying it's not like,
So, I mean, when I would want to actually start to carve myself out, if I do ever join politics, then I would be a lot more active than just being the contributor that I am right now. So it would have to be a serious step when you make that move. More than just having a membership.
Why do I feel like you are complicating it so much?
Okay.
It's just like, okay, I know this example is a little bit like out, but it's just like someone when they say, well, I don't know if you're religious or not, but it's just like when someone says, no, I accept Jesus, and you say, oh, if I accept Jesus, I have to stop all these things. Well, no, because you do it, and then as time goes on, you sort of find your way. So I mean, like, it's the same thing with signing a membership. Yes, you do sign a, like when I signed a membership, I don't necessarily think that, because I mean, I'm not even a politician. So when things that I know now, it's things that I'm getting to know now. It's not like I knew all those things. So I feel like, why are you complicate? Why sign you? It's like people that say, when you ask them, when are you gonna get married? They say, oh, if I get married, I have to fit the family of the girl, whatever. Like, it's not that. Why are you thinking that far? Like, why are you just marry someone and live happy, sign the membership, and you get learn as you go?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to take things a lot more seriously, so that's why you make the assessment. And yeah, if you're gonna commit to something, I think do it with as much favor as you possibly can.
But love develops. You know, you sign a membership. As I said, when I signed a membership, it was not that deep. I was not even thinking about, oh, you can't bring the organization into disrepute. Those are things that I'm learning now. I didn't know those things. You can't bring the organization to disrepute. You can't do 1, 2, and 3. Those are things that I'm learning now. Those defending the organization. Those are things that I'm learning now. And I feel like they come naturally when you are saying this is my home. Automatically, when you sign that membership, even if, because me, I used to be like, you know what, it's not that deep, it doesn't matter. But now I feel like someone was saying on X, making a joke, more was saying to me, Uguti, is this I feel like you're more radical now. So you see, you grow into those things. You don't. You see, but anyway, that's not why we are here. I think let's park that one. So who are your top 3, since you don't belong to any organization? Who are your top 3 political leaders that you feel like you like their politics, or maybe you like their politics actually?
Must I restrict it to people who are alive?
No.
Okay, so today...
It would be interesting though. I mean, people that have passed, we all have people that we like that passed. I think let's just stick to the ones that are breathing now.
It's going to be quite a challenging one too.
Why? Okay, maybe 2. Not your top political lead. Like, it doesn't have to be anyone who has an organization. It can be a politician that you really like, you know. It doesn't have to be someone who has a political party.
Obviously, I think Julius Malema, that's someone essentially who I stand by. I think I like his politics.
Don't say that because I'm here.
No.
Okay.
I have great respect for the leaders. Yes, I find them fascinating. It's difficult to find other, because there's so many interesting developments that have happened in South Africa's politics. I think I'll stop there. Like I would have mentioned, when I asked Dead or Alive, Sobukwe, as well as Steve Biko, and then I would have held it there. But Alive right now, I think CIC stands in a category that even if I try to attach other names, they won't stick.
You know, with how I've seen and how I've gotten to know you, I would think you'd mention Floyd Chivambo. Like the way he thinks, the way he, you know. You used to, or maybe not. I think I've asked you this question before.
I can't say I've had like an obsession about Floyd ever.
Okay.
And we've watched him unravel now
of
in
course.
ways that, you know, you begin to question so much of what you maybe may have thought or maybe would have credited him for. But yeah, he's never really been someone that touches you. Okay. But you're always impressed essentially by the breadth of knowledge, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now that you've mentioned Julius Malema, what do you, I don't want to say what you like about him, but what do you like about his politics? Because I think I mentioned this to you the other day. I said, Guana, it's very interesting when, especially when you create content, you realize that there's a lot of people that like CIC, which is Julius Malema, like his politics. You'd find that you get the most educated people, you get like you get like the people in the township, you get different people that really like CIC. And you also learn this when you are wearing like your regalia. Let's say you are wearing your cap, you go to the airport. I mean, the other day I went to the airport, and you'd find like serious people there with their profiles like, EFF. But also, I pass by the garage and they're like, EFF. So you find so many people are attracted to the politics of the CIC, or maybe the politics of the EFF, because I feel like the politics of the CIC are the politics of the EFF. So, yeah, what fascinates you? Like, what? Before we get to the politics of the EFF, and I know you're gonna come for me. But I feel like there is an admiration, like, you admire CIC as an individual, like as a person that he is, his personality, how he plays his politics just as an individual. And then you get the politics of the EFF, what the EFF stands for, the cardinal pillars and all that. But now I think firstly, let me start with the CIC. And I know you said you don't belong to any party, you have not signed any membership, but you do gravitate towards the EFF. What do you like about Julius Malema, just as an individual, just as a personality? What do you like about him and how he plays his politics?
I think his fervent fighting spirit. The guy's been resilient since very young, just very survivalist. We're gonna make it out alive. One of my favorite moments was seeing him when the organization was being tested, and within about 72 hours, he had called for ground force forums all over the country, and he was going there and assuring essentially the comrades that his coffin will be draped in red and that he's leading this organization.
Yeah.
Then I think also, I mean, the clutch of his politics is just the black child. There's a video of him saying that we're fighting for black people, but we're fighting for even those black people essentially who fight us for fighting for them. We'll still continue to fight for them. So the clarity of his politics to say, we're actually trying to advocate for the emancipation of the black people of this country, because they've actually been put on the backside, and trying to awaken them to this fact that, guys, you actually deserve to take part in this economy. So, and I think that's the struggle of this century, more than just freedom in our lifetime. Economic freedom in our lifetime has now become the current mantra.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think do you think there could be anyone who would rise up to Julius Malema's standard?
When I think he stands out in his own generation.
Okay.
He stands out in his own generation throughout the continent. It's quite difficult to find someone who could mushroom and be on his pace. I think this century or this period of time will be remembered with his politics.
Okay, that's interesting. And then I think let's jump to Jacob Zuma. And what I want to ask, and I'm so sorry guys if this question might be sensitive, I'm really sorry. What do you think is going to happen when Jacob Zuma passes? I'm asking now in terms of, because I've seen there's a lot of people that like him, ne? And we've always felt like he's being treated unfairly. What do you think that will do to politics when he passes? Do you think he will just be forgotten? Or do you think maybe we'll get a large number of people that will retaliate? Maybe they don't vote? Or, I don't know, like, how do you think him passing might affect our politics? And I'm asking this on purpose because no one thought when he opens a political party now would be talking about MK. I don't think even when MK was formed, I was like, yes, I know it's a threat, but it's just not that deep. So, realizing now, and also I think I've got quite a different view now, engaging with the members of the MK, and realizing what they don't care even if there's ideology or no ideology, it doesn't matter if they're going. So, I feel like we do underestimate his supporters and his voter base. What do you think is going to happen when he's no longer here?
It's going to be difficult to put together the constituencies that he's brought together, because he took people from his era of statecraft, Brian Molefe, Siyagonga Gama, but he also took tribalistic elements. He also, pulled you know that loss of Prince Mangosuthu
Yes.
Buthelezi and his fatherly figure over the Zulu
Yes.
nation and that Zulu nationalism, essentially. He draws from that. He pulls from all different sides. I mean, from the MK comrades by attaching the name. He draws essentially from even people who are mired in allegations of state capture. And I think you begin to realize with time goes that these people actually are not sticking together. Recently, you've seen some of the characters, take the back bench. Some are even stepping away from parliament, and you just see, or it's been quite difficult for the organization. It's like, you mobilize, then after mobilizing, then you must organize.
Must keep them.
Yeah, you must keep them, you must organize them, then you must actually grow the quality of their politics. And I don't think they've done that quite well, and I don't think there's been an investment in doing that, because that's a lot of work. Work in the ground is quite a lot of
It's
work. to make sure that
difficult.
you uplift the quality of the comradeships or the members that you have in the organization. And that's what will essentially allow an organization to survive.
So you think there will be no MK when he passes? And I'm asking this on purpose because this is a question that everyone has been preaching. Uguti, there is no MK without Jacob Zuma, and you would have thought that that's the first strategy that they would have. Uguti, when he passes, what are we gonna do? Yeah, well, that would literally be the first. Uguti, we wanna prove everyone wrong, but do you think they've gotten to it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
they've been
also.
working on the idea of how this organization succeed.
Not that they didn't want to, but I think it's difficult to do. Because I think that's what Floyd was trying to do. But I think it's very, very, very difficult.
But when you know something is difficult, but you're working also in the opposite direction, the frustrations that he shares when he leaves the organization, I don't know how legitimate they were, Floyd, in his press conference. Mara, you can see already, these people don't seem to be interested in even considering what he would have to share. They seem to be allowing, because I think there was a time where he was warning the leadership, or we can't allow for this thing of us not being clear about who's the lead of a particular place, having two centers of power in a particular place, because when we get to local government elections, those councillor candidates get to a point where they are fighting for bread, and they may even kill each other, and KZN being hotspot. So he brings that critique. If they don't take it seriously, then you can see that clearly the organization is taking a choice. You can't even say, it's difficult. No, they've been given the diagnosis, you're supposed to resolve the solution, and you choose not to. It's a choice. So I think they chose not to do some of that hard work. It's not just overly complicated or difficult, but they had people offering a hand to say, let's give guidance to some of these things. And I don't think they're interested in those things.
Who chose not to do it? The ground forces there, or the what? Who chose not to do the
I
work?
think the most leverage lies with President Zuma. I think even constitutionally, a lot of...
I think he wants to hold that power. That's his politics.
So unfortunately, it's not gonna be sustainable under that form of leadership and guidance. I'm not inspired by that style of leadership. I don't think it can succeed.
Do you remember him when he was president?
Not so
Or you've
much.
only studied about him after?
Yeah, from after. So while his presidency was ongoing, the media got to us. I think we were young, impressionable, and thinking to ourselves.
Okay, now that you've studied about him, what do you think of his presidency compared to Ramaphosa?
I think obviously there was an exaggeration of the whole state capture scandals, but when I also, because there's a book I read called Witness to Power by Dr. Matthews Posa, and they characterize Zuma. And you can see, Zuma, it's like he has good intentions, but the strategy and how he just does things at a level of detail, he seems to not be very oriented that he can be gulled by some of these things. The relationship with the Guptas, those blurred lines I felt, these are very clear conflicts of interest that he should not be getting involved in. But I don't know how he justifies it for himself. But in the overall, there was things that they did that were very progressive, and that you saw them do well. But yeah, you're just like, it was not well put together. And
What things he did that were progressive? No, I'm just asking. Well, just three that he did that were progressive.
one of them is the rural development. So there was a whole Ministry of Rural Development that was created to make sure that he can touch the lives essentially of the people who are usually out of the urban areas. What else? What else can I say?
You said there's a lot of things that he did that were progressive. I saw a house on social media. There was a picture of Nkandla. I don't know if you saw that picture. And then there was a smaller Nyana house just at the bottom there from his neighbor.
But I mean, what we must also look at is Zuma's presidency takes place from 2008. And that's the time we were starting to now do a lot of work for 2010.
Yeah.
A lot of development in terms of infrastructure and things
Yeah.
like that happened under his presidency. I don't think you can take
that away from
necessarily, but maybe in the later years, that's when he got a lot more scornful and certain things you don't agree with, such as expulsion of the CIC and destroying the youth league and stuff like that. So those sorts of things you can be like, there I think he was feeling that he's got power and he's too comfortable with to doing what he wishes with it.
Who do you think is more powerful between Jacob Zuma and Sesi? I know this is a bait question. I know you are all going to be angry. But I think it's interesting for me to ask you. Who do you think is more powerful or influential rather, not powerful?
I think the CIC has a bigger footprint at this point in time.
How so?
He's quite young.
Okay.
He still has
Okay.
something to go, but it also has a stronger organization. The quality of membership that the President Jacob Zuma is leading. Jacob Zuma is an ANC guy.
Yeah.
Having left the ANC, he's far weaker.
Okay.
He was powerful when he was holding and binding the ANC.
Yeah.
But ever since essentially he was thrown into jail, he's trying to reaccumulate power. Much as he has 14%, which is more than the EFF at the moment, the EFF still shapes politics in South Africa far greater than President Jacob Zuma. And I mean, there are certain things that limit their influence. For example, he hasn't reached the whole continent, partly because sometimes you'll find he's speaking the most important things that he wants to say in Isuzu.
Yeah.
Things like the language barrier, but also just him being as old as he is. Old people usually just think to yourself, can these people just, because they've had their chance now. So no one really gets inspired by an old person who has served their presidency. It's like, okay.
But the politics of KZN are not like that. I had a conversation with someone from IFP, members from the IFP, and I was asking them, Ogoti, I don't know if you're following this, that Untuli wants to contest to be president of the IFP. And the guys of the IFP were saying that will never happen. Tina Mangosuthu wathi president umhlabisa. Umhlabisa forever. Did you come there even like after he has passed like for so long, you telling me about it will be Hlabisa forever? Because that's umntwana, that's what he told us. That's the politics of KZN. Well, I'm sorry my KZN people, but when I heard those things I was so shocked. I was like, it's so different. Because even if Untuli can try to contest it, it might not work. No one cares what he's saying, if it's right or wrong. All they care is that Umntwana said, maybe Mhlabisa president. If Mhlabisa lives 20 years, Mhlabisa will be president for 20 years, and that's just it. So hence I was asking the same thing about Zuma, because if Jacob Zuma as well, and on his way out he says, I want the president, this is just an example guys, I want the president to be Tutuzin, then they might say the president will always be Tutuzila, because that's what Ubaba told us. And it will always be like that. It just depends on who is he gonna say when he goes. Unless he just sleeps and never wakes up, then maybe that might be the problem.
I mean, it's things like that do concern me about organizations, because you can't be stagnant. You can't be seeing what this thing is not working, but still essentially stubbornly insisting on it, not taking these things to conference, and that's what will drive some of these organizations to go down.
To fail.
To fail essentially, because they're not changing, they're not transforming, they're not grooming the next generation of leadership.
Before I jump to Ramaphosa, okay, in fact, it's fine. Let's park the MK party and the EFF. So with President Ramaphosa, I think we heard rumors just before the G20 that he was stepping down, and then some people came out debunking, good, no, president is not stepping down, it's not happening. And I see the conversation is still ongoing now. I don't know if you remember when there was a conversation that Ramaphosa submitted a resignation letter, I think when last year, or I don't know when, and he was told, no, you can't go, you must stay. where do you think he is as a president? And off camera we were talking, he said he did well in the G20. So start there. Maybe start there on the G20.
Okay, no, I'll start there on the other
Okay,
end.
okay.
So again, Witness to Power, the book by Dr. Matthew Posa, he talks about how when when President Ramaphosa was in trouble with the whole Pala Pala scandal, he had to step in essentially to come and challenge the report and to explain to Ramaphosa that no, we can sidestep this thing and navigate the whole situation. And they had to convince him. But in his heart of hearts, I think he had decided he's gonna step out and talk out. So you get an account of that in the book. And for me, I think we're just gonna constantly be living in that moment of the fact that when someone decides to draft a resignation letter, they're almost conceding, right? I'm enough with some of these things. The fact that you're forcing him to stay, it's like, I will do it, Mara. It's almost this begrudging kind of way that they're going to be doing things. But he's gotten back into the fore. The organization has protected him, and now he knows, okay, there's at least an extended lifeline. Mara, it's always on the back of his mind, especially now with there's the push for the Pala Pala judgment to be gotten out and all of that. There's also uncertainty about what's going to happen leading up to 2027 and all those sorts of things. So he might just decide, or he's enough with some of these baggage and dealing with all of these things. I don't know where he will end up in terms of whether he'll decide to resign, but I take credibility of the rumors essentially that he did consider, and that he might not even finish. I mean, if history tells us that ANC presidents have not been finishing their second terms, then who am I to think that essentially things will go differently?
Do you think he will not finish?
History tells us that ANC presidents have not. So I can't make a judgment that deviates from that. The evidence, I think, is leading us in that thing. So we'll watch how it unfolds.
Do you think that they don't finish because they want to do 2 terms instead of, if someone did 1, then they wouldn't be chased out? Do you think they overstay?
I think the organization, in terms of the ANC being a broad church, that is one of the challenges, because you have this capitalist guys within the ANC, but then you also have the communist guys within the ANC, and it's almost like the temperature is measured on which faction is stronger, and hence it always destabilizes these guys and divides them during conferences. It's quite it leads them to fragmentation because they're not clear on where they stand. So hence things always shift with the wind depending on how circumstances are lying. So the nature of an ANC conference, I see it to be like that because of the policy of broad church and being accepting of broad different ideologies which are actually in contradiction to each other. And it's just a matter of those people who are in the middle ground, do they sway them this side or do they sway them that side? So that's more or less what I've been sensing about why these guys don't happen to finish their terms. And it's also so convenient to villainize the person who came before in wanting to project yourself as better, because now I don't have any track record, I have no mistakes, now I'm just new, I'm fresh, and I can project myself as the better. But this one has these challenges, he had his fair share of things, that decisions he has made, the failures that we can point to. You just exaggerate those, make them look bad, and then you can step in. So it's a very convenient but expedient thing to do, and I think it has caused a lot of tension and cost the organization of the ANC quite a bit. In terms of, you asked about Ramaphosa and the G20.
Yeah, just his presidency, not only the G20, things that you think is done well. Start with the G20 because you think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about the G20 just reflecting on how it's going to happen. I knew one of the things is going to be this issue about Donald Trump that is going to be constantly troubling. When he went to the United States, I was like, this is not a good move. But I think as a president, you can't throw toys and throw tantrums. So he felt he needed to do that, and
confront the situation.
But even at that, I think they did a very poor job. I mean, they were there. There's saying things like, no, crime happens to everyone, as if that's supposed to comfort anyone, instead of saying, so
there's no
so things like that they were saying. I was not impressed overall with that, but I can appreciate them having to go and engage, and I expected the outcome that you saw. The president of Ukraine went there, they did what they did to him. You are going there, the guy has an agenda deliberately about you guys for a set number of reasons. So I could have seen it coming, Then we get to the G20. Then, pressure keeps on persisting from Trump's administration. And, at the last hour, he has managed to galvanize the rest of the G19 countries, excluding the United States. And the center of power was with him.
Yeah.
And, when Trump essentially was changing his mind and throwing tantrums, they didn't respond. He had a dignified G20. People came. And it debunked this whole idea of what Trump was trying to push as an agenda. So that move I thought was very skillful. He was composed, he was diplomatic, and he's quite well respected. I mean, you must also see him amongst particularly African leaders.
Yeah.
And also how he invited them to also have seats and also have contributions. I think that was also a good progressive move because this was the first G20 that was hosted on African soil. So diplomatically, I don't know. He has this thing of sometimes just impressing, even with the Palestine issue. Taking that up. Obviously, he's not taking it to the radical extent essentially that he would have advocated for. But for the fact that amongst nations around the world, they are the ones who took the initiative to do that. So I don't know. It's like domestically, he's just doing swag things, but when an international platform, he's good at.
He's good.
And the thing is, the thing about diplomacy and working with international relations is that a lot of it is symbolism and posturing.
Yeah.
So he's good at that.
The image.
Posturing, the image management and public relations.
Yeah.
That he knows how to be statesmanlike and then try to manage it. Yeah.
Do you think we are too harsh on him, Ramaphosa? I mean, at the end of the day, when you're a president, you can't fix everything. Do you think we are too harsh on him?
No, he killed people in Marikana. He's been implicated. I mean, in the state capture, if you hear some of the things, like Brian accusing him essentially of having been involved in Glencoe acts, where did his billions come from? What did he invent? I think those are genuine questions that, we have a leadership crisis in South Africa, and he's just one of the additions to this leadership crisis. And it's not clear to us what his presidency resembles, what it's for. The promises with which he came, I'm going to clean corruption, he has not delivered on any of those things. If anything, he's using our corps essentially to chase after criminals that he's hiding money in mattresses. I don't think there's anything that you can say we're too harsh. No. Me acknowledging the G20's successful execution and that geopolitical moment doesn't take away from the fact that I don't think he's lived up to the promises of what his presidency was supposed to resemble. And not in small minor failures. I think in big ways.
Okay, because I think how you looking at it, it's the same way. I've seen Dr. Ndlozi flip-flop a little bit, saying, "Oh, Ramaphosa is not that bad. He's doing well." And then someday you find him, he's not sure. I don't know if you've seen his tweets. He likes to tweet, and someone's like, "Oh, guys, this man is trying. You don't do anything." What do you think of that?
I mean, I wouldn't take it the approach of Ndlozi. I mean, I've seen tweets that I'm just like, it's like a moment happens where he does good work, and all of a sudden you forget all. I can hold two truths at one time. To say, in this instance, that is his strength. But his weakness is overwhelmingly that implicates us. It looks like this. So I don't know. I'm not confused about the two things. They can be held in the end. And just because one thing happens more recently, I don't forget about the
what
others.
happened before. So, and now, who do you think would be the president? No, not who. If now Ramaphosa is removed, who do you think will be the president? Who do you see emerging? Or who would you like to see emerging, in fact? These are two questions. It's fine, it's still recording.
All right. South African politics is this because after 2024, it's not so easily predictable.
True. That's very true.
There are too many anchoring things.
That's very true.
So in terms of those predictions and projections, I find it difficult to try and see into the future. So I will reserve judgment and just watch things as they are.
No, I agree with you. The things are not as predictable anymore. Like there's so many things I feel like there's also a lot of things that are happening. You see now, for example, they're pushing the name of Patrice Motsepe. And if you were expecting that Balula will rise, Paul Machete will rise, Motsepe. even President Thabo Mbeki is doing his own thing. I'm thinking, what? Like, this guy is supposed to be retired, and he's just all over. I'm like, what's happening with this guy? And I saw an article where they're saying, no, President Thabo Mbeki and Ramaphosa must replace Ramaphosa temporarily, and then they will elect a president. So I don't know what's happening there. I don't know. Yeah, but it's tricky. I must say it's tricky. Do you see Paul rising? Just curiosity, you.
It's. I think it stands a fair chance out of being, because genuinely the fact that we're talking about him and Mbalula, you look at the two characters, they don't really inspire confidence. They haven't captured the hearts and minds. They're just. They are the embodiment essentially of the decline in the ANC. You're just like, these are not the same quality of leaders that the ANC had in its past, like Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela. The caliber is so the bar is low enough, I think, for them essentially to make it and take over. I don't see why not. If they can continue to just salvage whatever number of votes essentially that the ANC holds and patch it up with another GNU. Paul, he seems to have been trying to appease to this idea of whiteness that no, he'll keep the GNU.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's doing
that. And in the beginning, he was not saying that, Do you know that he changed?
Conferences where SACP was busy singing Asifuni GNU, and he's there singing with them.
No, I heard him also. It's like, GNU, we'll keep. I'm like, hey, so what happened to you?
He's trying his best to try and appease and assure the handlers of the ANC.
And they stopped attacking him now. Because remember, there was a lot of
coming to Waterfall.
Yes, and but now I'm seeing, okay.
Why things change, so...
I do think, though, that people underestimate Fikile Mbalula. And I feel like we're also underestimating him. I do feel like people underestimate Mbalula. Him being the SG, holding all the position that he has held, it shows you that he knows how to play politics. He knows how to play politics, and he's been in politics for long. And I feel like people take him as like a clown, but you don't get to where he is by being a clown.
I somewhat beg to differ. Let me use... I don't know if I should use this example because the person is late.
Oh, okay.
It's a former premier of Mpumalanga, former deputy president Tebogo Mabusela.
Oh, okay.
And how he ends up into his position. Apparently, someone drove to his place.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd heard the story.
Yeah, I think it was Gwede Mandashe who drives to places to place people in positions, but I don't know. I stand corrected. Yeah.
So they'll let us know where the source of this. But I've heard this story that he goes there to negotiate or. Didi, can you not change? We'll give you deputy president. And suddenly the guy has become deputy president. He has all the perks of a deputy president, security, protectors, all of that lifelong. And he just does one term and after that he walks away. So you see that in politics sometimes you can find yourself holding power just out of... there was a time where Paul Mashatile was being called the Holy Trinity. That was because he was Treasurer General of the ANC at the time.
Yeah.
I think Jesse Duarte was gone on sick leave. They gave him DSG position. Isma Khoshulo then gets suspended by the president or some step-aside rule. He gets 3 positions at one time. That's how he carves out himself into the politics of this thing. So, I don't know. There are times where political expediency does happen within the ANC and people find themselves emerging. And just because someone is holding the platform doesn't necessarily, for me, mean that the person essentially is this quality comrade that can shape the politics of... I just...
It's not about quality, though. It's about you knowing how to play politics. I'm saying it's not by chance that Mbalula is the SG. He's been in positions throughout all these presidents. He's been maneuvering.
Maneuvering, opportunism, I don't qualify that necessarily as being politically...
Okay.
Strong. I think you can get by, but how long essentially will this entail? What legacy does it leave? How material, how sustainable is these sorts of things? So he might be able to swindle through and find, but come the next cycle of elections, I don't think he will grow or save the organization. I think the organization essentially will continue to be on a decline under the leadership of someone like...
Do you think there is someone that can save the ANC?
Not from the top. I think everyone...
Who do you think can save it? Well, who's the wild card? Someone that can.
I don't think there can be a wild card. I think everyone that is surface level known in the ANC has been tainted by essentially being in bed or an affiliation essentially with the current regime. It will take a different generation, I think, to come on. And
do you think it's even possible? Because I actually heard Panyaza Lucific with this speech. There's a speech that I posted a few days ago where he was addressing the ANC delegates. He was saying, Muguti, if we don't do things right in the next 15 years, there won't be an ANC.
I mean, my hope, or where I would see a slight bit of hope, would be something like an ANC Youth League having a new firebrand leader, like a CIC that, you know, had emerged and kind of reshapes the politics, redefines it, and gives them a run for their money as a generation. That's where I would look if I were to be looking for hope for the ANC.
Chance.
Having a chance essentially at renewing itself, and genuinely so. But so far I'm seeing, you know, things like and they're suspending each other, they're fighting leading up to the conferences. But you also see their relationships and allyship with comrades within the ANC. I mean, you look at them implicated with the SG, and you're just like, I don't know, man. They seem to be embedded within the politics of these politics. Whereas the CIC, for example, they had their own positions, they had their own programs, they had autonomy. They didn't rely on power through proximity. They didn't say, no, because we are friends with Malema Mutlanti or any other senior leader, then essentially that's what gives us credibility and power. They worked the ground, they worked the branches. There was a speech of the CIC at the time when he was still in the ANC saying that every single structure of the ANC, we must have youth 50 plus. So every resolution, we must capture it. So we've now taken this conference and resolved on particular things that we want as the Youth League. We are now going to take this thing in our majority into the body politics of the ANC. And that's when essentially they decided this guy must be taken away. So that's the best story of this thing. That's what I'm saying. I would look at the hope, but even that has been taken away. I don't know, maybe we must go to Kosas now to search for hope there.
There's nothing left.
It's dire. There's a leadership crisis. It's South Africa in general, but in ANC in particular.
Okay. I hear you. Okay. Another question that I want to ask, I don't know, I think I asked you this off camera before, Guti. Are you familiar now with the politics of Panyaza Lesofi? So I don't know, have you been following him much or not that much?
Not that much.
Not that much, ne? Okay. Do you think he should, I like him as a person, I like his politics. Do you think he should stay in the ANC and try to maneuver his way up? Because people like him as well. People do actually like Panyaza Lesofi. Even us who are not in the ANC, but we see like good leadership, not good leadership, but some qualities in him. So do you think he should stay there or should he just leave and go to a different party? Do you think he should just go to the EFF?
I think he's a good contender within the ANC in terms of he gives people like the DA as well as the EFF a run for their money.
Okay.
And so, but I don't think, especially
a run for their money where? He gives people like the EFF a run for their money. Where?
You are the one who's acknowledging as well.
No, but I like him, Jay, but he does not, it gives us a run for their money. Where? Or how?
But he has something going. But
he does not give anyone a run for their money. You know, Panyaza Lesofi is there because also the EFF is supporting him. Without the EFF, that thing would collapse. So where does he give us a run for our money?
So I would refer to instances like how, you know, he was challenging the Bella Bill, he was also challenging the GNU and the
which we were in support of.
So that's a different perspective of the EFF's position on those sorts of situations. Now I'm saying him within the ANC being someone who postures as progressive and tries to align with those. You know, he
gives hope to those who are still pure left.
Exactly. So those people essentially are within the ANC feeling disgruntled. He still feels like the guy essentially has a fighting chance and inspires something out of it. I don't see hope in, you know, someone who has established themselves in that way trying to reinvent themselves within a different political organization. I think they know their organization and they should just be thorough about their diagnosis of what the issues are and work on resolving it. Running away from it and trying to entrench yourself within a new culture of politics and a new comrades and people who've insulted you before.
It doesn't
I don't
work.
think it's necessary. Fix what you have there, what you're working with. Don't escape your own home. You've created this thing. You were part of this thing. Deal with it there what it is.
Try and fix it.
I think die with your boots on. I
So
think
anyone who's jumping around, you don't support those politics.
It's. I feel like we've just come from that period where a fragmentation had been happening in our politics. Right now, I think it's time for reconsolidation and for us seeing what most substantive and stable things essentially can be formed. And where you are, I mean, I don't think the for example, right now, the ANC in Gauteng was having a difficult time staying and trying to get the coalition, but they've managed to cook up something.
Yeah.
And because they've cooked up something, it's stable. They're finding each other on more actual, real pertinent issues. So they must work on that. I don't think changing a color of a shirt will take away the issues or the troubles one is having.
That you have. Okay. And it's just a wild card question. Do you think Dr. Lozi, if he can join the ANC, because I've heard people saying that if he joins the ANC, then, people might vote for the ANC. What do you think?
I think it's going to be difficult. I think firstly, the ANC needs broad churchness and also just how it's just become a stokvel. We're hearing from Atlanga Commission for those to be swimming in the same pool as Brown Mokotsi and
imagine
all of these guys. I don't think anyone can revive. I think it will just taint him as well. It will all now be vindicated, or these people will start to feel, and close. This is what it's all about. Come on now.
Where do you think he should contribute to Los?
I think where he is right now in terms of radio giving perspective, he'd be good if he puts his academic qualifications to good use and contributes to the decolonial agenda, and finds his space and joins the likes of your Dr. Pedro Mzileni and other academics actually that are trying to uplift the quality of discourse and the critique of
Do you think it's good that he left politics?
Not necessarily. It would have been great for politics, but I think he made what he made, and I don't think I can reverse and regret those moments. But he is where he is right now. He's with a PhD.
Yeah.
I would rather that than having him continue follow the shadow of President Mbeki and try to galvanize
which is what
the
he's
legacy.
doing now. And I don't understand what he's doing because I've been watching them and I keep on asking myself, what are they doing? Are they maybe planning for something that they're going to announce in future? Or I don't know what they're doing. They've just been doing strange things.
Yeah, I have a qualm with President Mbeki. I used to admire him quite a lot. I think quite an interesting president and, an interesting boss and all of that. But I find that his time has passed and he keeps on wanting us to go back to those times to bring together his legacy. But I'm just like, okay, but in what ways does that serve a current situation now?
Yeah.
So it still just feels like he's trying to find redemption. That I wasn't that bad. It's like I told you so type of a thing.
Yes.
But of which also some of the issues that arose in the ANC, he was there. He was part of this thing. When he was running for a third term, he created some of those situations. When he was alienating certain characters. I'll refer again to the book Witness to Power. That, apparently Dr. Posa as well as Tokyo Zohwale and there was another Cyril were basically isolated by Mbeki's things and accusations of treason and some bogus investigations. So there are, I think, small mistakes that he made. People can also refer to the AIDS denial and things of that nature. So one can characterize him and see this almost egotistical as well as intellectualism. And see those shortcomings may have also led to some of his downfall, that he could be overtaken by someone like President Jacob Zuma. And I just don't think it helps us essentially to continue being excited about Mbeki's economy or something like that. Because it's not going to extend our lifeline.
Yeah, that's so true. No, I agree with that. Okay, now let's just park the ANC a little bit. With Helen Zille saying that she wants to run for mayor, what are your thoughts on that? And again, I've heard someone, oh, I think it's Kaya Zhang or something, where you are saying, "Guti, but you know, Helen Zille can help our CPT, wara. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there can be any good that can come out of her being the mayor of Johannesburg? Any whatsoever?
I find it difficult. I think she's 74. I think it's late for whatever she's attempting, but also even the approach, it's so paternalistic. Like, you think you can come into someone's home essentially and tell them how to do and all of that stuff. You have not been cultivated into the space. You have not been following closely the dynamics of this thing. And if Cape Town is anything to take from, we started this talk talking about my reading of the difference between Cape Town and Limpopo, where we come from. Just this polarization where if you're poor, just stand aside and allow us essentially to have economic activity where the affluent people can be able to. So in that project, they might be able to succeed, but also I think fixing a municipality is not pop and fleece. These are infrastructure issues, these are roads, and they're so massive that they actually will take quite a bit of time for those institutional changes to be taken in place. And I just am not inspired by the idea of a 74-year-old being at the front of that. If they had projected maybe a fresh, talented, young, leader or a candidate that can install such a program where you at least have assurance on this person will be there to see these things through. But now I'm just like, we're in a leadership crisis.
They're just getting bread now. Everyone's securing the bag for the last time.
It's quite a desperate situation.
But do you think I was raising this with someone, I don't know who, I was saying, do you think it's hypocritical then? Because a lot of people always ask, when is, and again, I'm going to speak about Julius Malema, I'm an EFF member. When they say, when is Julius Malema stepping down? But no one speaks about people like Helen Zille. And they often reference to Helen Zille, by the way, saying, Helen Zille has stepped down, she became the chair, whatever. But Helen Zille is coming back into power. And even though she was like the federal chair of the DA, but a lot of decisions were run through her. And if there was a crisis, she would be the one to step in. So is that a retired person? Or is that a person who has stepped down or leading from the shadows?
It's not, absolutely. They've been at the center of decision making in the DA. Even at the times maybe where they had a black face, you just know what at the end of the day, how decisions are made. I mean, another thing is how the DA is also governed. They say that they don't do, things like cadre deployment and all of that. They separate the organization from the state. They know essentially where the center of power lies in those areas. They have their own politics internally. And, you can see right now, when Helen Zille was the face of the DA, she had some level of influence in shaping the organization.
Yes.
And then she shifted from being at the center of it. Now Stian Hazen is there. But you can see the power shifted with Zille.
Yes.
It's like now federal chairperson.
True.
Chairperson
when there's things going on, they call Helen Zille. She does the interviews. She's all over. Like she's the president. So is there a DA without Helen Zille?
So that's the thing.
And I've asked this question before.
But I mean, I would also even want to go back to the situation of the CIC. CIC was building the organization from fresh. And that organization needs to build credibility and get to a point. So that's an investment into being the organization. There's no rush that must be there to say the guy essentially must leave, because his project essentially is going to take much longer. And he has started it and he's setting up the foundations, but also the organization has bred a number of characters and people that we now know today of different calibers and different fields.
True.
Someone in communications there, someone who's a scholar there, someone who's good in finance issues and all of those stuff. So they've created an Avengers of economic freedom fighters of different people who are leading this thing. So it's not even just centered around a single personality, but you can see there's a collective at least that is holding things together. There's also hope in the younger generations through the youth league and the youth command, which used to be a student command. So I don't know. I don't see the need to rush removing him from our politics to do what. He will always be relevant. I think so long as he wants to contribute and he has something to say, allow the organization to do what it does.
To develop and grow. But is there a DA without Helen Zille?
That's going to be quite a difficult one to answer, because I haven't studied the politics of it.
Because Zille is so influential. She really, really is. When things go wrong and like they're breaking apart, Helen Zille does the interviews herself.
Yeah, I mean, I've been, one of the books I have right now, and this is coming from her trying to emerge as mayor, as the book about Helen Zille.
Yeah.
Not Without a Fight, and I've been just paging through it now and then just to read. You can see just how influential they've been over the period of time throughout. They know everything about the DA, but also they were I don't think other leaders of the DA are able to match her, because she knows how to speak Xhosa. She knows even the cultural dialects,
and she's been in politics for a very long time.
So she's a very talented politician to a point where she's anchored, knowing how to play to an audience of black people, but also at the same time to negotiate with her funders for whatever aggressive agendas that they have. So it's quite a struggle. It's going to be quite a struggle for them to find a leader that will replace, you know, the contributions of someone like I said.
Yeah, no, I think they're only staying on top of their game now because there's Helen Zille. Without Helen Zille, they will not have that wisdom when things, what we do now. Because when things are done a certain way, she comes and says, no. Because I also once heard that they don't get along with Steenhuisen. They don't get along. They can't wait to remove him because sometimes he doesn't want to listen. He just does his own thing. Of course, because Steenhuisen wants to lead his own way now. And of course, they're saying, listen to us, we've got experience. So anyone who gets power there, they're just, even now it's clear. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. And it's also unfair for them now to say he didn't get the correct results. Had they maybe given him a chance fully, maybe the results would have been different. I don't know.
I mean, I studied also that phenomenon you're talking about of Musi's thing. And you look at the number of votes, and you count them. Musi had more votes than John Steenhuisen. But people pretend as if essentially
he failed.
He failed and all of that. But also, if you look at the politics or the voter constituents of white people, you'll see during that time when Musi was around there, a lot of votes ran to the VF+. And only after this thing was shifted and now it came under Steenhuisen, VF+, those votes then come back. So really, you know, I think Musi was a better asset for them essentially than Steenhuisen was. And they're not being honest with themselves. If you actually go look at the data and see what was actually happening.
Yeah, the numbers.
And VF+ doesn't even represent a threat to the DA that they should have maybe stopped the project.
Be intimidated because of people ran to the VF+.
You know, for them, it should have been better. It's like, okay, fine. If there's that conservative, extreme Afrikaner body, let them remain there. We'll coalesce together and do our agenda because they represent more or less the same thing. And just continue trying to gather this multiracial thing that they're running with the DA. But you know, that impatience of a racist, I think, wanting to just collapse this thing because you don't know. Yeah, so they missed out on that.
They throw tantrums. It's either you do what we want or we gone. Okay.
Yeah, so, but I think you've made your case, and I think I still stand with you on that one. Without the Helen Zille, the DA is weak and has lost quite a lot. And she tells her own story about how when she came in, Tony Leon had maybe put it around 86% or something. And that she pushed it all the way to 22.
She's done good work.
And made it essentially to actually re-win the Western Cape. But, you know, as she's being ejected from the politics, I don't know how much longer they'll be able to sustain.
I think she's fighting. I think more than anything, when they get older, they fight for their relevance or to be remembered, you know. Like also because, but I do think, now Helen Zille will be remembered, in the DA. Unlike other people that were there, I don't see anyone who's made such an impact or maybe who people know of other than Helen Zille. I feel like she's like, when you speak of the DA, all people know is Helen Zille. Yeah, well, even John Steenhuisen, when he's gone, I don't think anyone will talk about him. Yeah, so I think when they get older, also it's like the legacy. Everyone wants to fight to be remembered, to be, I've done this and that. Imagine if Helen Zille now can be mayor of Joburg. She will write another book and say, you see what I've done. So, anyway, what else do you want to add?
A little piece I would want to add is reflecting on how moments like this have come before. So when I was reading through the history of South Africa, there's a period of time where in the 1900s, they formed in 1910 South Africa at the British Parliament. and then there's this party called the South African Party, which actually put together all of the people who were in those cabinets, and they formed their own thing. And you watch progressively how they begin to lose power, and they start to form coalitions to a point where there's now this united party that was created. I think it was 1929 or something like that in that election. Later, there's the breakaways. There's someone who forms the Nationalist Party, and even later, then there's a breakaway of the Nationalist Party. So these sorts of politics of kind of things consolidating but also fragmenting again have happened before, and I think there will be a lot to learn if we actually go back in history to see that period of when the British and then Afrikaners basically were trying to figure out how does South Africa form something that can actually work forward and move together, and how they were busy fighting and quarreling over all of these things. That might give us at least a better indication of what to expect around these periods of time where there's just the consolidation and fragmenting of our politics.
All right.
So the things we're seeing now are not so new. Coalitions have come before, and we just need to go back to those lessons and seeing how did they play out, and make projections essentially going forward using our perception of that.
Yeah. All right. No, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, just before we end this episode, just quickly touch on Gayton Mackenzie for me. What are your thoughts on Gayton Mackenzie, especially now? I was saying he's actually so quiet now. I don't know what's happening with him now. All of a sudden, it's like, or maybe he's not tweeting anymore. That's why I'm thinking he's quiet. What are your thoughts on Gayton?
I think he's an opportunist.
You think so?
And I think, he has moments where he's been able to speak heart to heart type of things that actually get people to pause for a second and reflect. But then there are times where you're just like, this guy is politically expedient. Like, he's an opportunist. He will jump at anything. He will sing for supper. So once you clock him in that way, you're just like, I can't take this guy seriously. He knows how to perform to your face. He knows how to have that, cunning, two-faced thing of a politician. And he's unapologetic about it. He's a gangster.
Honest. He's honest.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, for me... I don't see what's significant, and I think colored people essentially should reflect on what he has represented, especially because he has played that colored identity and colored vote, and people, they must interrogate and ask, has this guy done anything meaningful to progress or to advance? They will
never have engaged the voters of PA. They would die than not vote for Gayton. You see, so it's not about, they don't care. They say, yay, this is our master guest.
This is our guy.
And I'm telling you, ask them, Gayton did 1, 2, 3. They don't care. They really genuinely don't care. The voters that I have not engaged a lot, it's Action SA voters. I have engaged 1 or 2, but I feel like there is nothing that they say, we vote for Action SA because of this, or we'll never leave. I feel like they don't have a culture. Like when I engage the voters of MK, IFP, I get to understand how they think. When I engage the voters of, like, as again, PA, I understand how they think and why it's like would be so difficult to sway them. But then Action SA, I don't know. I just feel like it's just people. So I don't know what are your thoughts on Herman Mashaba and just his leadership? What do you think?
I think what would characterize them is more just this pragmatism. Like, there's just this thinking of how if things can just get going, we just need to do things instead of being more ideological. There's no position that they can defend.
Business,
they don't know.
by the way.
They're just business oriented and thinking, we can trust this guy. It's a very simplistic kind of, this guy's run successful businesses and made money. Let's lend him a vote and hope that he does the same thing in that same simplistic. But politics has more layers than that. But he seems to have captured a constituency, and I think their mayor is also doing quite a well essentially in representing their organization and shifting even Hammond, because Hammond has not actually been in the forefront for quite a while. We've seen more of Nasipo essentially being the face of the organization and representing them.
Okay. No, I've seen Herman. He does come up here and there sometimes, but also he refused to merge with Bosa, the Rise, and a good party. And he said, well, firstly, what they said is they wanted to merge with him, but then they wanted everyone to be equal. So Herman says to them, but no, I have more numbers than you guys, and you know, I'm in government. That's what and he is in government, you know. So, and also what Bosa and them said, they said they won't have a president, which is very tricky. Oh, Herman wants to be a leader. Musi is there. Good says that she's a minister. Uzibi is there. Yeah, but it's very tricky. So Herman says, no, the only way I would ever merge is if I have much more power than you guys. I've got more numbers than you. Secondly, Herman preaches Abraham. Or Musi, they are preaching their own thing. So do you think it wouldn't have worked anyway, even if he did agree?
Yeah, I mean, the kind of culture and ideology of Herman Mashaba is more kind of this individualism. You know, he's the guy who believes in a free market, essentially. If you just believe me there, I'll figure out my way and I'll make sense of these things. They don't appreciate kind of how social structures work and all of those things, and how all the barriers essentially which exist for black people. They think because I was able to work so hard and build a cell till I made it, then everybody should be able to, without considering all those other things. So that individualism, when he sees these people are not on my caliber, but you also can see these ones are politicians. This guy is more a businessman. So,
I mean, Uzibi is also a businessman, by the way. He's not a politician. Usonga Uzibi, I don't know if you know him. The Rise leader. Do you know him? Maybe you don't know him.
I know him.
He's a business guy.
He used to be an editor.
Yeah.
But I don't see that necessarily as being business. I think, and also in his work, he was doing a lot of journalism. He has studied the politics of the ANC. He has followed the politics. So he's more politically inclined in the sense of he understands politics and developments, conferences, things of that nature. Whereas Herman has co-opted. There's a white guy called Michael Beaumont there who's trying to, from what he learned when he was in there, and I think it's Trollip, Ansel Trollip, those guys, he's brought them in to try and do the political stuff, but he's just listening to the advices and making business decisions based on whatever they're making. So I can see where they distinguish themselves and why he would be like, I can't associate with that after so much work I've built here. But yeah. And then these guys also, their situation was quite desperate in seeing where they are not running organizations which actually have credibility and substance, and they don't have presence throughout South Africa. So it's better they just combine their infrastructure so that they can be able to contest for the local government elections. Because what they were saying is that we want to get councillor candidates, but if all of us try, we're too small and insignificant. So rather, let's pull it together. Let's create a system which we all agree to in terms of what a councillor candidate should be, and then we'll select using this process for all three of our parties.
Do you think, though, they should have merged without changing the name? Because they changed the name as well. And I don't necessarily know or think I like the fact that they changed the name. They've changed their name to Unite for Change. So, what do you think about that? When I was listening to them, I was like, I don't necessarily think I like the fact that they're changing the name. Maybe they could have worked out a strategy, working together and all that, without necessarily becoming one and having an entire new name. I feel like their names, Ramaphosa and what they've, even though like they don't have numbers, but we've sort of gotten to know them, that now they're a whole new thing now. They're going to be contesting as Unite for Change now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, for them to all, part of it also just seems like they all want to have the same title of being president of these three different organizations. I think it does take away, you're right in saying that, introducing a new name for this thing after having built all this credibility for your own individual organizations. But also, it's always going to be a point of fighting for them. To decide, we collapse and then we go under whose
name. I think they would have better agreed going under Bosa or what than starting an entire new name. But I don't know.
And another thing is, there's obviously the 5 to 5 year provincial and national elections, but then there's the local government elections, and they work kind of differently. So the Unite for Change, they're creating it now for local government elections, and depending on whether it serves them, whether it works or not, they will decide then to collapse their political parties and start a new party. I think they talked about this thing. They addressed some
Yeah.
of the questions, saying that we are already registered with the OIC. I think
IEC,
It's going
yeah.
to be difficult now for us
To yeah,
really,
yeah.
but we're trying to form a new thing so that on the ballot for municipalities we have something that binds
Give
us.
direction,
And
yeah.
I think it's a test.
Okay.
But it definitely feels like a waste of resources
It
for them to have
is.
invested into
It
building and
is.
popularize Bosa, Rise and Good.
It is.
And then to leave it now to form this new thing.
Yeah, and
But-
Bosa got a lot of money. And even though people did not vote for them, but I mean, they were everywhere. I'm not Bosa, man, Rise Mzansi.
Rise. I remember
Rise
those
Mzansi
posters.
was everywhere. So, but yeah, I mean, it's politics. Do you think South Africa will ever change? I always hear people say, "Guti, what's this? Politics will never do anything for us." Wara. Do you think South Africa will be saved by politics? I don't know if I'm phrasing this question right.
I think not politics alone.
Okay.
Yeah, people can't concede to politics. I think people must themselves see themselves as agents in a society that can do things, that can shape things different ways, and yeah, you all make a difference essentially, irrespective of whatever sector or place in society. I think it's bigger than politics and
Is
politicians.
politics a waste of time?
No.
Okay.
So it has a role to play
Okay.
together with many other things. I mean, for example, we know our churches play a role in essentially holding certain
Yeah.
spaces, schools, institutions
Yeah.
of higher learning,
Yeah.
people in business as well.
So everyone has got a role to play.
But at the end of the day, politics essentially is the one that leads us to state, which we all now are bound
Okay.
by, and laws and parliaments. So it's quite a powerful
Okay.
tool that overrides in the main. So we need to get that right.
Yeah.
And you know, it can be this one or that one. I think
Yeah.
all of them must kind of be flourishing.
Okay. The very last question, we are ending now. How do we bring the people that are influential? I often hear Penyo the Black Pen. I often hear him say, "Oh, I'm done with politics." I mean, those are people that are very influential. They've got numbers. People listen to them. I often hear him say, politics is a waste of time. Wara. Even Abo Mekji. We go make Sol is there to push Mekji a little bit. But I often hear Mekji saying, man, that thing. How do we bring these people that are influential? Like, how do we bring them closer? Like, how do we, I don't know, how do we share the importance of having politics? Like, the people that have given up, because I feel like Penguin has just given up. He says all politicians are liars. That's what he says. So I feel like he's just given up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
It's a tricky question, by the way. You don't have to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be able to convince certain people
Okay.
that the politics can, because they are talking from perhaps even real experiences.
True.
I mean, both Sol and Bo
True.
McG go to clubs and they play
True.
there, and they likely bump into our ministers there,
True.
living lives and chasing after girls in ways that we don't get exposed
True.
to on.
True.
So things like that, getting them to be like, we have rubbed shoulders with these guys. They don't mean anything. They don't deliver anything. They're not promising. There's no grand plan
Nothing.
of whatever that they
Yeah.
have. So with that proximity maybe of them
Yeah.
being high status,
Yes.
people feeling like, the leaders that you guys have in South Africa, you guys are being scammed. These are,
These are our friends. We chill with these people. We know what they do. That's so true.
you know, so I think that perspective also
Yeah.
might be informing a lot of
True.
their feeling like,
True.
I've seen this guy.
No,
and I don't
depending
think
on this
he's-"
guy. You
You
know?
know?
Yeah.
And then just in terms of what will then inspire change, or it will come from the youth, I believe. I think
True.
a new generation that's not been implicated or embedded in the current
True.
structures. And that's why we need more young people to
True.
be involved. And another thing that's going to be very good is that politics being unpredictable is going to force us to actually have to compete a lot more.
Yeah.
You would have to actually offer equality.
Yeah.
There's a point where the CIC was speaking about Dr. Ndlozi, saying that as a premier candidate, if I put him here and I
Yeah.
say, vote for him versus any other
Panyaza Lesofie. He
candidate.
was putting with Panyaza Lesofie.
I mean, those
Yeah.
are, now, back then, when it was almost expected that the ANC will come with over 50% and just do
Yeah.
as they wish, they took it for granted.
Yeah.
But now that essentially it's kind of they're approaching the 40%, there's an opportunity to have the discussion and to
Seriousness.
pause and reflect and
Yeah.
be like, actually, from these,
Yeah.
you look at someone like Enasipo from the Action SA,
Yeah.
no one would have known, no one would have expected, they were not even a top, but you know in the next, there
Yeah.
will be a force under which different people will be galvanizing, saying that no, that person even can be premier or something of that
Yes.
sort.
Okay.
So, you know, things are going to be evolving as time goes. The fact that we've leveled the playing fields. Another thing that we've been beaten by is the ANC using a government infrastructure, government,
Yes.
that thing that they have with that machine, state
Yeah.
machine,
Yeah.
to take advantage of situations. They'll be handing out grants, wanting to build
Yes.
roads close to elections because they see the time is coming.
Yes.
It won't be as easy now in a GNU
Then-
to
yeah.
siphon money and do all of
That's
those
true.
things.
That's very
So
true.
good luck to them now competing on a more level playing field.
Who, I know you said you don't vote for the EFF. Who would you like to see as the EFF mayor candidate in Johannesburg? Because I heard Herman saying that he doesn't have any candidate. So Herman might be taking the mayor candidate for Action SA himself, he said, because he said he has experience. So let's just say it's going to be Herman, it's going to be Helen Zille, it's going to be QPA, it's Kenny Kunene. Who would you like to see in the EFF as the mayor candidate?
Let me correct that.
Yeah.
I didn't say I don't vote for the EFF. I said I don't have a membership.
Oh, you don't remember?
But voting this last
Oh, I'm
election.
so sorry.
Yeah. I will allow for the processes to unfold themselves.
You don't have anyone that you'd like to see?
Not necessarily.
Really?
I trust that. Especially at Gauteng, I don't even have proximity. I don't know the leaders that are that side.
Okay.
But even if I did, I think
Okay.
let's allow the process
Yeah,
to unfold
yeah.
and not pronounce names
Yes.
because you believe in the processes that have been designed within
Correct.
an organization that it must be able to deliver credible leaders that,
Correct.
that can deliver. And any of them will be able to
Correct.
deliver on a mandate.
Okay. Now, as you are ending, oh, Brian, I'm going to better if I wouldn't say this. So, you are still thinking about signing a membership? No, I'm just asking. You're still thinking about signing a membership? You must sign a membership, man.
When I'm ready to be active in politics, I'll take it
No, but you
seriously.
can sign a membership and not be necessarily... There's a lot of people that have a membership that are not active.
But if the organization says you must defend the organization and I don't defend it, I mean, I just joined. I don't want to operate.
But
like
where
that.
are they gonna? Where are you gonna defend? Because you're not even in position. You're gonna be defending here on the ground.
As a ground soldier, you must also defend the position.
Yeah,
on,
but
you're on social media as a Twitter warrior.
No, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You don't have to be.
So I see it that way. That you have.
You don't have to be a Twitter warrior to defend the organization. You don't have to be. You don't have to be a content creator to be
But I
defending
see
the
that way that
organization.
you must actually be active. If you're gonna say I'm joining and commit to this thing and I mean, let's reread that document and look at how serious. And I take, leadership positions when I step into them quite seriously. So that's why essentially at the time where maybe I'm ready to be active in politics, then I'll take the step. And yeah, and even when it does happen, you'll hear about it. The guy has stepped into the
Oh,
ring.
wow. All right. Tebogo, thank you so much. I think this was a very nice conversation. I really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot from you, as always. I think next time, hopefully, when I have more equipment, I'll definitely invite you again. I don't know when, because you will not be here, but maybe one day. You never know. You never know. Oh,
No,
Mom,
it was wonderful to shift the conversation we'd have on TikTok and to bring it in. Usually on TikTok, people will come and challenge you and, have a nice discussion and you'll change your
And then
mind.
someone will just
But
come and say something
now
else.
this is recorded, this is going on
Yes.
YouTube, it's going to stick. So
Yeah.
people must comment and engage, let us know what you think. We'll be open to replying and responding to that as well. And
You must
see
reply for
where
yourself in
maybe
the
we've
comment
gone.
section.
Yeah, I'll respond. Yeah.
I think I'm too commuted. I know people are gonna come for you. All right, thank you so
Really
much. It was really good to have this chat, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do subscribe. It's free of charge. Remember, our aim is to get to 40K subscribers before the end of the year. Please subscribe, guys. We are sitting on 36.8. Please ask your family and your friends to subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Aluta continua. Until the next time.